Last year, a friend of mine gave me Tabletop Racing to review. Before we delve into it, I have to admit I'm not the biggest racing game fan. Including this game here, I have 2 racing games in my PC library. The other one being Dirt Rally that I got for free from Humble Bundle. Before that, the only other 2 racing games I actually bought were Midnight Club for my Xbox and Mario Kart DS. There were some other titles I dabbled with in the past like Gran Turismo and other realistic racing sims with friends, but personally I found them a bit dry and required a lot of dedication to play through. But bringing us back to the topic at hand, the first thing that stands out about tabletop racing is the aesthetics. It's not quite Micro Machines or Hot Wheels, yet it has this more chonky style to separate it from other more recognisable brands, and they certainly have their own charm. Stages are what you'd expect from this style. Workbenches filled with tools, a picnic that I'm pretty sure was just an excuse to get drunk considering how many wine bottles there are, and a retro one for the boomer crowd. There's a total of 5 stages, but each one has several variant layouts and some extra stages are available as DLC. I'm not a big fan of selling tracks as DLC. It's something that should be included in updates to keep the old crowd interested and make it more appealing to newcomers. The music is not really to my taste and it's a bit of a mess. I think the best way to describe it is a fusion of funk, dubstep, hip-hop, trance with millennial woes mixed in. It's not the kind of music I would listen to intentionally, but thankfully it just blends into the background. Jumping into the gameplay, it is definitely more of a kart racer than a competitive racing game. There's item caches scattered around the track which randomly spawn weapons like missiles, bombs or oil slicks, or a nitro boost. The efficiency of these power-ups can be increased in later levels by collecting 2 in a row. Each track has a few shortcuts which are inconspicuous at first glance, but turn out to be almost a necessity. For whatever reason, the computer-controlled cars seem to work to a different law of physics and have a certain weight to them that the player does not. The turning circle for the player is also incredibly large compared to the AI competition that somehow manages to turn around tight corners at high speed. The single-player campaign is also a bit of a mixed bag. You start off buying a bottom-tier vehicle, a common trope in most racing games, and upgrade it as you go along. It starts off okay, but after I played the first round a few times, I realised no matter how many times I tried and did what felt like almost flawless runs, my car just did not have enough power to compete. So after spending some cash on upgrading my car a few points, I utterly destroyed the competition. For me that feels like a bit of a cop-out, like I should be learning how to drive well to beat the competition, not relying on higher specs. The progression is also done in the 3-star system that you see a lot in mobile games. It's a fad that I'm not a fan of and could have been dropped, but I guess the devs thought it would add replayability. After a while, I had accrued a substantial amount of cash, so I decided to invest in one of the Pro tier vehicles. So I picked my car, bumped up some of the specs, went to the Pro difficulty mode keen to try something different, but nope! The game won't allow you to do anything in the professional level rallies until you've completed all the amateur level races. It was at that point where I just normally would have just stopped playing the single player mode. But I forced myself to grind my way through the rest of the amateur races just to advance to the next section that I could already afford to join. But when I got there, I played a few rounds, but I just lost interest and I couldn't get into it any further. But then it was time to test the multiplayer mode. I was joined by FireFX Tom and Jordan from the 4Play community to try it out, and honestly, it was a much better experience. Starting off, we went with the beginner level vehicles just to get warmed up, but considering the playstyle, they felt a little slow. Doing one of the extended tracks almost felt like a chore due to how long it took. So we upped it to the professional vehicles, and man did that make all the difference. The races felt more competitive, and goofing around trying to knock each other off the track became the staple of our session. Plus we didn't have to play to a different set of physics like during a single player race. Upping it to the supercars after that became the norm for us, and we spent the most amount of time in that mode. We did try going back to the base level vehicles afterwards just for comparison, but they felt so sluggish and it was a relief just to be done with the race. But now I need to point out that there is no local co-op mode at all. As far as I can recall, every racing game I have ever played has always at least had a split screen 2-player mode. It feels like a missed opportunity since there aren't many kart races on PC. And let's just say hypothetically remote play actually worked on Steam. You still couldn't play it, and you still require everyone to own a copy of the game. So unless you already know some people who also have this game, or if you're just really into any racing game, I'd give this one a miss. And that about wraps this one up. Thanks for watching and we'll catch you next time.